Alright, people, welcome back to my little studio or whatever. We are getting scholarly today and taking a step back in time because I found this lying around on emotional quotient inventory bar on by some PhD, alright? Yeah, I put my true name on the internet, whatever. But this is from when I was 13 years old, alright? We're gonna dive into it, and if you think, what does this have to do with philosophy or criticism and all that? Well, this is going to be a segue into a video where I talk about the book by Dr. Thomas Armstrong, which is entitled The Power of Neurodiversity. And being a neurospicy individual myself, I thought it was pretty important to look at EQ scores from a critical age. So let's start off, and I'm going to put these in the air somewhere here so I don't have to show you in the camera. Composite scales. Alright, intrapersonal EQ, that relates to how well you know yourself. 90. And this does run like IQ, by the way, so it's like 100 is average. I sucked at everything. Interpersonal EQ, 65. Not surprising for someone who's autistic or who has a broader autistic phenotype, by the way. I don't carry a diagnosis, but I've always suspected that I'm autistic. If you haven't been able to gather that from my mannerisms and affect and all that junk. Stress management EQ, 79. By the way, this is adjusted for your age. Adaptability EQ, 87. General mood EQ, 80. Okay. And then there are also subcategories. So I'm going to talk about the noteworthy ones, and by noteworthy I mean the ones where I sucked completely miserably, and definitely put the whole thing on the screen. Emotional self-awareness, 82. Self-actualization, 82. And these are both in the intrapersonal category. Okay. Interpersonal category. Now, all three of these, the subtypes are empathy, social responsibility, and interpersonal relationships. Okay. I was pretty significantly below average at this age. Empathy, 77, social responsibility, 64, interpersonal relationship, 75. Not so good, especially with social responsibility. And from what I've gathered and what I remember, social responsibility here refers to how responsible basically you feel towards other people, like your conscientiousness, how much you consider how your behavior affects others. And if anyone can correct me on that or expand upon that, then leave a comment by all means. Okay. Stress management. Now, this is its own category. So stress tolerance, 77. Impulse control, 83. For someone with ADHD, that's definitely expected. And adaptability, flexibility, 61. For someone with autism or broader autistic phenotype. Not surprising at all, huh? And then the other really noteworthy one was optimism at 71. Now, interestingly enough, the categories where I was slightly above the average were self-regard. Pair that with optimism, huh? Assertiveness, which is 104. Independence, 102. That one I could actually kind of challenge. I think that's more like your desire for independence than actually being independent, because I still kind of suck at that. Problem solving was my highest category at 108. Okay, this page I'm not going to talk about, but I'll put it in the screen. Cautionary remarks. All right. And then it goes through question by question at the end. Now what this does for anyone who's not taken it, at least at the time I took it, which was a long ass time ago, what it does is it'll ask you several questions, and then you rank it on a scale, and I think there were like 5 categories where it says on one extreme it's like completely not true of me, and then on the other extreme it's very true. It's very true of me. And you basically have to rank yourself. And then there are also ways in the test set up, supposedly, where it tests basically how consistent and how honest or dishonest you are, some of y'all, in answering the questions. And I think that's a pretty good thing to do. So, yeah, that's that. The reason I'm making this little individual video, kind of impulsively, even more so than normal, is because I'm going to reference it in the future. And I definitely wanted this to be documented online, not only for reference, but because if I ever lose that thing, and I do want to seek an official diagnosis of something, it would be good to show how I ranked at that age. Because otherwise no one could see it. So yeah, definitely comment your experience with this test if you have taken it. Anything that I might have missed, anything that stands out to you about my scores, and maybe your scores if you've taken it. Comment below. Thank you for being here once again. Love, gratitude, subscribe. Done.